That is mental. Alright guys, how you doing? It's Rabea, I hope you're all well. So, as I'm sure most of you have probably heard by now, Neural DSP just released a brand new plugin in collaboration with Misha Mansoor of Periphery. He needs no introduction, kind of a modern guitar legend. So let's jump straight in and let me show you Neural DSP Archetype Misha Mansoor. So, you should see a screen grab right now of Misha Mansoor X. Notice it's now called X because it's primed and ready to be moved to Quad Cortex at some point, like all the other plugins in the range. This is a pre-release version, so it may have changed, the default preset may have changed, but if you were new to the Neural DSP plugin kind of ecosystem, let me take you through exactly what you're looking at. The first thing to do is talk about the signal chain. So the signal chain works from left to right, and along the top are the icons of the different sort of devices in the plugin. So we start with preamp effects or special effects, then we've got our stomps, then we've got our amplifier section, a cabinet, post EQ, and then effects loop effects. And you can click on them and it will take you through all the different sort of devices in the plugin that you can customize. In the next line down, you've got your input level, you've got a gate on input, you've got a transpose feature, you've got an input mode, so mono or stereo. Then you've got your preset section. As I said, this is the pre-release version, so I actually don't have any other artist presets right now. Next, the doubler section, which is basically like the TC Electronic Mimic pedal. It essentially gives you a sort of double tracked guitar tone. Then the output section, which is the overall output of the plugin. Then you've got your amplifier section, so a clean amp, I guess a rhythm amp, and a lead amp. And then along the bottom, you've got your different amplifier icons that you can move through. And if you notice, this little icon here allows you to detach the amp from the cab so that you can actually mix match which cabinet you want with which amp. So in the pre-effects or special effects section, we've got something called laser, and then we've got this new device, which is a new effect developed by Neural called glitch. And I believe it's modeled on the microcosm from Hologram Electronics. Then we've got our pre-effects, so we've got the Horizon Devices compressor. As you know, Misha Mansoor co-founded Horizon Devices. They make overdrives and compressors and delays and things like that. So they've modeled that compressor for this plugin. We've got a tape echo in front of the amp to get our cascading sort of delay effects. We've got an octave pedal, dual octave. Then we've got the precision drive from Horizon Devices, which is a modern take on a tube screamer. Then we've got something called Chaos, which is kind of like a fuzz really, that they kind of squeezed on the end there. Imagine if that was a real pedal, it'd be pretty funny. Then we've got our cabs, as you know, how the cabinet system works, you know, different microphones you can choose from. Then we've got our sort of post EQ section, which is basically you've got a high and a low pass, and you can choose different bands to sort of fine tweak the tone if you want to. And then our effects loop effects. So we've got modulator, which is kind of like a chorus, I suppose. We've got stereo delay, and then we've got a reverb. Of course, you know you've got a tuner, you've got a MIDI table, you've got tap tempo, you've got a metronome section for practice, which is really nice. And then of course settings. Let's start out by listening to the amp straight in. I'm going to turn off the effects. I'm going to turn off everything except the amp and the cab. So I don't know what the amps are modeled on specifically, but this sounds to me like it's definitely in the 5150 realm. It could be an EVH 5153 or something, I'm not sure. So we've got two voices. It's definitely mid-proud, as it were. Kind of aggressive, so you got more scooped. Sounds like a gain boost as well in a way, but it's tight, very tight amp. And we can, boost it up, do a bit of this. Let's try the clean amp. I'm gonna zero everything. It's sort of very flat sounding currently, but obviously we can mess with the controls. So we've got a voice switch. like boosting the mids right in front, and then a boost as well, so. More my cup of tea, bit of hair on it. And then with the voice as well. Super, super intense. Let's get a ribbon on this. So it's obviously made in such a way that it starts out quite flat and then you really shape it how you want it. But I can see why they added the boost and the voice. And then let's quickly check out the lead amp. So I'm just going to take everything back to 0. Voice switch in one position. Sounds like a saturation switch. It's got a lot of low end, this amp. Boost it. Let's have a little bit of reverb and delay. It's a nice sounding lead amp. It's got a lot of saturation. It is, let's high pass some of that. So we've got a 414. I'm a big fan of ribbons and 57s. Whoops. So that's the lead amp, and yeah, really all of them are kind of reminiscent of sort of amp models I've heard before, in the sense that, you know, the clean amplifier definitely feels like a sort of 6L6 kind of clean sound that you can really shape how you want. The middle amp, the rhythm amp, is definitely 5150 inspired, and I feel like the lead amp is kind of like a modern take on a Marshall. It's a bit Friedman-y maybe. So now that we've had a little listen to each amp individually, let's mess around with some of the effects. So I've got my rhythm tone. I'm going to turn off the effects section. Let's have a quick listen here. So obviously we've got a precision drive. The way the attack knob works is it has sort of 5 or 6 different notch positions that sort of shelf the amount of low end and tighten everything up. So I'm just gonna, and it has a built-in gate as well. So this is without it, and with. And as you turn this up, the tighter it gets. Very handy if you're running like 8 strings and all that kind of stuff. And obviously you've got a gate in the plugin, but there's also one in here. Let's put it up all the way. So it's very characteristic of that sort of sound. It's nice you got that in a plugin. Let's have a listen to the Chaos. Sounds like a fuzz. Let's mix that with the octave. Maybe with the precision. Okay. We've got a tape echo in front. So you could kind of do the shoegaze thing, or I guess you could do like a rhythmic thing with it as well. So you can mess with it like that. Of course, on the clean again, we've got the compressor. There's an intensity switch. So if anyone's familiar with that pedal, you'll know how it works. I mean, it's more or less a compressor, but with a couple of extra features. So yeah, basically the preamp, so the pre-effects section is kind of tailored around Misha's preferred sounds, but it's nice that you got a bunch of different options there. Anyway, let's move on. Before we do the fun stuff, let's have a listen to the post effects. So we've got the modulation, we've got chorus and a flanger. So obviously with this expression pedal, you can see how it's controlling all the parameters, which is nice, but I'm assuming we can map that if we wanted to. Auto. Interesting. So what's interesting about auto is it almost like gives you a glitchy effect in itself, or you can use it traditionally, which I think is quite cool. It's an interesting take on it, but I can see how that teamed up with maybe the glitch effect could get some really cool sounds. Stereo delay. So we can hear that clearly. What's nice about having the ducker is it means that without it, obviously it acts like just a delay in the path, whereas you put the ducker, you turn that up and it'll keep out of your way until you finish playing. So like that kind of thing, or if I go halfway. Then it becomes louder and you see a really extreme setting. And then it comes in. I prefer it without, really. So that's kind of the delay. It's like a digital stereo delay, but then you've got a couple of different modes. So you've got stereo, phase inverted, which widens the stereo image. Very cool. And then ping pong, of course. And then we've got the reverb. It sounds like a kind of hall reverb, maybe. Big and expansive. And we've got pre-delay and decay. We've got shimmer as well. Which is cool. So there you go, that's the post effects section. And now we get on to the pre-special effects. So we've got the laser. Now I think we need to be on this amp. Looks like it's got a bunch of maybe presets in there. It's kind of like a ring modulator that you can control the sweep with your pedal. Wow. This is crazy. That is mental. For me, that's one of those things that I'll use as a layer, something cool just to throw in there for texture and add sort of some cool sounds within productions. But the one I'm really excited about is the glitch, because the glitch is modeled on the microcosm, I was told. This is definitely more my cup of tea, this domain. So we've got 4 different modes. We've got sequence, pitch delay, interfere, and texturizer. And these are obviously, as I said, I think this is all inspired by the microcosm. So sequence being more of a sequence of notes, obviously. Pitch delay is going to be highs and lows, octaves above and below that we have control of. Interfere is the main reason I think it's called glitch, is because it sort of chops up the sound and then sort of places it rhythmically in different places. And then texturizer is more like I guess it's kind of a mix between pitch delay and pitching with reverse delays as well. So it's going to add delay, pitched up and down, and add reverses as well. The texturizer, I think, is similar to the mosaic setting on the microcosm. It's one of my favorites. Let's check out interfere. Wow. You can definitely get creative with this. They'll be very useful on recordings and productions. Pitch delay. That's awesome. Sequence. So it's kind of a combination of the kind of interfere thing with the pitch as well. So it's like a texturizer pedal. It just adds tons of texture to your guitar sounds. So it's really going to be useful when you're, making your songs, wanting to add layers. It's just another string to the bow, I would say. So that's kind of the overall vibe of the plugin. So now I'll show you some of my presets that should come with the plugin when you get it. So this is ambient tickle. So it's more just like a textured clean. Then we've got lead. So it's a very mid-forward pronounced lead that's going to cut through the mix. This is called Pew Pew. I didn't really know what to do with it. We've got Rhythmic Playground. Which is really fun to mess around with. And then we've got starting point riffs, which is my sort of rhythm tone. which is kind of just an aggressive mid-forward sort of riffing tone, and then warm edge clean. Okay, so there is a look at Neural DSP's Archetype Misha Mansoor. What I would say is it's fully comprehensive plugin, ranging from all the clean, sparkly tones to mid-gain and lots of high gain, with a bunch of special effects and textures that you can really use to, embellish your productions. Because of course, Neural DSP have a bunch of plugins at this point that you can use for everything from high gain to blues to clean to rock to whatever. So it's nice that they're including these unique sounding effects inside this plugin to add to that sort of palette that you can use when you're making music. The one tiny gripe that I have with this plugin for me is that the glitch effect can't be added in post. Now, as far as I understand it, it's because that would mean it would have to be stereo, and I believe the effect is actually mono. But that would be really nice, because it does mean that when you're using higher gain tones that you could use it and it wouldn't be sort of becoming very chaotic. Outside of that, I think the amps are sounding cool. It's definitely, you can hear Misha's sort of preferred tonal tastes. Of course, it's his plugin, but you can quite clearly hear the kind of mid-forward tones and the sparkly, jangly cleans and all that kind of stuff. But overall, I think they've done another great job as far as, Neural DSP go with their Archetype plugins. It covers the ground that you'd expect when you listen to the kind of tones Misha gets, and it's full of features, so you're not going to be stuck to find a tone, and you can spend hours exploring all the different sounds that are available here. So I think that's really cool. Anyway, what did you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. Of course, I will link this product in the description box if you want to go check out a free trial. It's 14 days free with any Neural DSP plugin before you choose to buy it or not, but I'll link all that in the description box below. Either way, I'd love to know your thoughts on this plugin, what you think about the idea of doing this kind of thing and the effects. Let's discuss it in the comment section below. But anyway, thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, and share. Thanks to Neural DSP for sending this ahead of time. Either way, I've been Rabea, and I will see you all very soon.